The World of Hyatt credit card feels a bit stuck in time. It went from a great hotel keeper card to just a good one, but still viable. To be fair though, if you don't like a book of credits, then it's still great. Today we'll run through the basics, the pros and cons, and who should consider the card. Big favor before we dive in is to give us a thumbs up to help with the algorithm, and if you know someone that might benefit, then share this with them. The core of the card is pretty simple. You have a $95 annual fee, and you get a free night every card member anniversary. This is for category 1 to 4 hotels, which can be a hit or miss depending on where you travel. We'll get more into this in the middle section since it is a bit of a rabbit hole. You can also earn a second free night if you spend $15,000 in a calendar year. Not worth chasing in and of itself, but not bad if you're already close. There's 3 main groups of multipliers. You get a total of 9x on your Hyatt stays, 4x from the card. You also get 2x on a bunch of categories. This includes dining, airline tickets purchased directly from the airline, gym memberships, and local transit and commuting. Also 1x on everything else. I'd argue that the multipliers are a bit weak, and the only competitive category is Hyatt itself. Along with the anniversary free night, the other tangible benefit is World of Hyatt Discover status. You normally get this by staying 10 nights a year. You get perks like 10% bonus points and premium internet for free. You also get room upgrades within the type you booked, think higher floor or better view. Also a late check-in, which is nice when there's a long line, and also 2 p.m. late checkout based on availability. The card also helps if you're trying to level up your status. You get 5 qualified night credits every year, meaning you start at 5 instead of 0. One big note, and a lot of people get stuck on this, is that you're not starting from Discoverist. You start at 5 with the card, you're not starting from the 10 at Discoverist. You have complimentary Discoverist, not an earned one. You can earn additional nights by staying, of course. You can also earn 2-tier qualifying night credits for every 5,000 spend on the card. These are nights for status, not nights you can use. This means that you technically can spend your way to Globalist, but generally tough unless you have a lot of 1x spends and the opportunity cost makes sense. For most people, the draw is paying $95 to get that entry-level status, and also to get the category 1 to 4 free night every year, which works surprisingly well as an emergency option, at least in my experience. Before we dive into some use cases and strategies on that front, if you are someone that wants to learn more about cards and you want to support the channel, we have links on the website AskSebby.com and also down below in the description box. Make sure the links are competitive, that they make sense, but otherwise it's a huge way to support the channel, so thank you in advance. With that said, let's look at some category 1 to 4 options and walk through how it works. Let me know if you want a full breakdown on all the category 1 to 4s. Okay, so Hyatt has a page where you can search for hotels. You can select various regions like the US and Canada, Europe, Asia, or the entire world. You can also select categories, so here we're looking for 1, 2, 3, or 4. There's a few ways to use these. You can treat them as destination picks, use them in cities when you're exploring, or as utility players. Let's start in the US with some city picks. Boston can be surprisingly expensive when it's nice in the summer, and the Hyatt Regency by Boston Harbor is a category 4 that could easily run $500 to $600 a night in peak season. In winter, it's usually about $200, so still great value here. Switching coasts, another similar one is Seattle. About $400 to $600 in the summer when it's nice. A bit less value, but still something when it's cold. If you prefer the cold, and especially if you ski, then the Hyatt Regency in Salt Lake City is a good pick if you don't mind a 25 to 40 minute drive to the hills. If you're looking to visit the Bay Area, then the Hyatt-centric Fisherman Wharf San Francisco isn't bad at all. It is a bit dated, so I wouldn't come here for the hotel, but it's not a bad home base while you're running around. If Austin's on your list, then the Hyatt Regency Austin is pretty great value, about $350 per night. But yeah, if you take a few trips a year, especially around the US, you're probably going to find a use case. New York is really tough, but most other cities are fine. You can apply the same strategy if you're traveling abroad and you want a good enough hotel, but you also don't want to feel bad about exploring the city. For example, the Grand Hyatt Melbourne is about $300 a night. Another good pick for Australia is Hyatt Regency Sydney, which is about $400 to $500 a night. Switching accents, let's go to the UK. One that's been on my list is Schloss, which looks like a castle. If you want to see the countryside, and especially if you want to try a championship golf course, then this might be a good excuse. $300 something a night, so good use of a certificate. If you're more city focused, Hyatt Place in London City East usually runs $300 to $400 a night. If Sweden's on your list, then Hotel Resin looks interesting if you want to stay in Stockholm's Old Town in the waterfront area. About $400 per night, sometimes $500. If you're looking for more mild temperatures and heading south, Hyatt Regency Lisbon is about $400 or $500, so tons of value there as well. If you and player 2 have nights and you have Hyatt points, then you could easily make this 2 to 4 nights of your vacation. Maybe even more if you don't feel like moving around. If you don't travel, or if you only go to specific places, then the category 1 to 4 nights become tougher. If you prefer fancier hotels, then these nights are still useful for transiting. For example, last time we were skiing in Europe, we stayed at the Hyatt Place Zurich Airport, the Circle, after our flight. It's not the fanciest hotel by any means, but still usually close to $200 a night, so good value. The main rationale was to catch up on sleep, adjust to the time zone, and also get a day of work in. After that, we headed into Andermatt where the focus was skiing, and also where we wanted to be refreshed to enjoy the Chetty. We're actually going back to the same Hyatt this year before heading to St. Moritz to go skiing. Even if we weren't staying here, the other options we were considering are still in the $200 to $300 price range, like the Radisson or Hilton. For this entire segment, we've been looking at category 4s, but there's also tons of category 3s that can be viable and similarly useful. For example, in Europe, Andaz Vienna usually runs $200 to $250 a night, Grand Hyatt Athens $250 to $300, and Story Hotel Stockholm $300 to $350. Even Canada is pretty solid with Andaz Ottawa, Hyatt Regency Calgary, and Hyatt Centric Montreal all in the $300 range after taxes and fees. One final note is that Hyatt does do an annual shuffle, so there is a chance that some of these category 4 hotels become 5s and not viable use cases. Not ideal obviously, but it's the nature of the space and why you should travel sooner rather than later. One thing I want to cover fast is spending to Globalist status. Of all the hotel programs, I'd argue that Hyatt Globalist is the strongest. Hyatt does have a smaller footprint, which means corporate travelers don't pick them as often. They're also not giving it to you with a high annual fee card, so there's less people with the status. Normally it's 60 nights, but what if you had a ton of 1x spend and wanted to spend 2 status? In that case, 60 nights minus 5 nights from the card would be 55 nights as a target. You probably are staying some number of nights, but let's assume 0 as the worst case. So this becomes a math equation. Given that the target is 55 nights and the fact that you earn 2 EQNs, elite qualifying nights, every 5,000 spend, 55 divided by 2 is 27.5, which would round up to 28. 28 times 5K is 140K. It's strongly considered the opportunity cost, but technically an option. I think treating this as a top-up makes more sense. Let's say you have 58 nights and you need 2 more nights. Your mileage may vary, of course. Overall, I think this is still a solid card. I wouldn't mind a change though. Let's say increase the annual fee by 100 and then add 200 or 300 credits, since I'd probably get more value. But I think I am alone in that camp since a lot of people don't like credits. As it stands, it doesn't have the cachet of some of the flagship cards from, let's say, Hilton, which have a lot more upside. But still a solid steward where you can get good value, especially for weird situations where prices are crazy. I'm happy to pay $95 to get 200 to 300 value, or usually at least $150. It's not crazy value, but still easy value. Again, if you want to learn more about cards, we have links on our website, AskSebby.com, and also down below in the description box. And if you're curious, all affiliate disclosures can also be found below in the description box. If you made it to this point, leave a globe or world emoji in the comments down below, and I'll try to heart it and also respond. 3 questions. Number 1, what are your thoughts on the World of Hyatt credit card? Number 2, what changes would you like to see, or would you be okay with? Lastly, number 3, which hotel keeper cards do you have? Let me know and everyone else know in the comments down below. Big favor, thumbs up, share this, but otherwise hope you liked it. See you next time.